It's been a while. You don't even remember the last real conversation you had with him. Not the rushed prayers. Not the God please moments in crisis. A real one. The kind where you talked, listened, sat still. And now, it feels awkward to even try. Like dialing a number you haven't called in years. Not sure if anyone's still on the other side. You want to come back, but you don't know how. Where do you start when it's been so long? What do you say when you've been ignoring him, avoiding him? Shame tells you to stay silent, that it's too late, that he's disappointed. But something in you still hopes that maybe, just maybe, he's been waiting, that the door is still open, and the silence might not mean absence, just a gentle invitation. I'm still here. You tell yourself it's your fault, that you drifted, that you stopped listening, and maybe that's true, but God never stopped speaking. He never moved. You did. But even then, he followed. He never let you out of his reach. And now that you're thinking about him again, it's not coincidence. It's invitation. You think you need the right words, a polished apology, some kind of performance to prove you're serious. But all God's ever wanted is honesty, a whisper, a sigh, a God, I don't know how to start. That's enough. Because prayer was never about perfection. It was about presence. And his presence doesn't require a script. It just requires your heart. Even if it's confused, even if it's been silent for too long, he hears that too. God doesn't roll his eyes when you show up again. He doesn't keep score. He doesn't say, "Look who finally came back." That's what shame says, not love. Love opens the door without asking questions. Love runs to meet you, not remind you of how long it's been. That's who God is, the Father who sees you from far off and still runs, the one who knows everything and still welcomes you anyway. You don't have to earn this moment. You just have to enter it. And maybe your first prayer back isn't even words. Maybe it's tears, silence, a deep breath, a shaky, "God, I'm here." That's more than enough. Because the point isn't eloquence, it's nearness. And the nearness of God has never depended on your performance. Just your willingness to turn, even if it's slow. You don't need to sound spiritual. You don't need a list. You don't even need to close your eyes. Talking to God isn't about formality. It's about honesty. It's about sitting on your bed, staring at the ceiling and saying, "God, I feel far," and letting that be the start. You don't need to impress him. You just need to be with him. Like any real relationship, it grows through presence, not perfection. Start small, a word, a whisper, a question, then listen. Not with your ears, but with your heart. He may not speak in lightning bolts or loud signs, but he's always been the God who speaks in the quiet, in the stillness, in the moments where you least expect it. And every time you show up, even stumbling, he sees it as beautiful, not broken, beautiful. Sometimes when you start talking to God again, it still feels quiet, and that silence can scare you. But don't mistake his stillness for absence. Some of the most powerful conversations with God don't sound like anything. They feel like peace, or tears, or a sudden calm that makes no sense. That's him too. He's not waiting for you to get emotional. He's just glad you're here. You think silence means you're doing it wrong. But what if it just means you're finally still enough to hear? Prayer isn't always about speaking. It's about being with God, sitting with him, letting him hold your ache, letting him see you, unfiltered. That's what he wants. Not a show, not a speech, just you, as you are, even if you don't know what to say yet. You don't need to restart your faith from scratch. You're not beginning again. You're returning, like stepping into a room you once called home. The furniture's still there, the light's still on. It's familiar, even if it's been a while. That's how God works. He never erases what you had. He restores it. He's not asking you to prove you've changed. He's asking you to be present, to come back, not to who you were, but to who you're becoming. Because the fact that you miss him means your heart still remembers, and that's enough. Your voice doesn't have to be steady. Your words don't have to be poetic. You just have to speak, or sit, or breathe. God reads between the lines. He hears even what you're too tired to say, and he answers, not always in words, but always in love. Talking to God again isn't about picking up where you left off. It's about letting him meet you where you are, right now, tired, confused, unsure, but open. He's not holding a clipboard, tracking your silence. He's holding space for your return, for your voice, for your heart, just as it is. You don't have to rush. There's no pressure. He's not in a hurry. He just wants to be with you, in the quiet, in the doubt, in the questions you're afraid to say out loud. Because he's not a distant judge. He's a father, one who never stops listening, even when you stop talking. So sit with him, cry if you need to, say nothing if you must. He's not measuring your words. He's feeling your nearness. And to him, that's always been enough. So maybe the first step back to God isn't perfect words or perfect timing. Maybe it's just permission to try, to sit in the silence and believe he's still listening. Maybe talking to him again isn't about what you say, but that you showed up, that you let your heart lean toward him again. You don't need to fix the distance. You just need to take one step, and he'll meet you the rest of the way. This isn't a performance. It's a return. And God doesn't wait with crossed arms. He runs with open ones. He hears even your silence. He welcomes even your doubt. And he cherishes the sound of your voice, even if it shakes. So what's the first thing your heart wants to say, now that you know he's listening?